Thank you for having me on.
Hey, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Much love. How are you today?
I am I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm out in nature now, so life gets better every time I do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like you're at home in nature.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I can hear the birds chirping in the background.
Oh, I can't see any, but yes, yeah, I'm yeah.
Yeah, is this one of your favorite spots, like your favorite parks to go to out there?
Yeah, it's very close to my school, and I find after I'm done school, I have to go somewhere to just decompress a little.
Hmm. Okay. To decompress, to de-stress, and just let me know. Do you always go by Becca? Or do you go by Rebecca? Like, does anyone call you Rebecca?
For the most part, I go by Becca, but every once in a while, in I feel like I'm in trouble sometimes when I hear my phone.
In trouble?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in trouble. Yeah, because I was always Becca, but then parents call me Rebecca when I did something bad. But
What do you mean in trouble? What do you mean?
like if I as a kid, I, I just would hear my full name when I was in trouble. So that's kind of. Do you know what I mean?
So it feels like the whip is coming
Kind
down on you?
of feels like the whip is coming down on me if I hear my full name.
Whoa. Okay, so it's that ingrained, it's that instilled with that. Like, is that why you cut off the R and the E?
Maybe subconsciously. I never thought of it that way, but maybe that's I never thought of it that way.
What what does it bring up for you?
Mm, mm, I think professionalism. So I like put on a different, almost more of a different avatar. Let's go with that.
Okay, okay. So like a different showing a different appearance, a different persona.
It's a different persona. That's a very good way to put it. It's definitely like a different persona.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Because Becca, like, when do you feel like you developed this persona? Like, when did you feel like you needed to put it on and, and keep it on? Like, when did that become more you?
The which wait, which one?
Because it sounds like you reclaimed your name, you know? It sounds like you said like your avatar, your persona, like, you shaved off these two letters, but you became more of your own.
Oh, I start. I'm trying to remember if my friends always called me Becca, but that version of me didn't. It's when you're with friends
Mhm.
that you genuinely align with. I feel they either like they bring out a side to you that maybe you didn't know existed, and you can be a little more, or at least I have felt like I can be more authentic. So then I shaved off the first two letters because that's what my parents named me.
Mhm.
um, and when you grow up, you're shaped into the version of you that is a product of your surroundings or how you were raised. But then as time progresses, you start to learn more about who you are and less of the conditioned version of you. It's like
Mhm.
I couldn't tell you exactly when it happened, but something's telling me maybe high school.
Okay,
Maybe high
okay, around high school. So, okay. So, these things that we, come into new understandings of ourselves when you're talking about the circle of influence around you, having those people, those friends, those influences around you, what do you feel like they were bringing out of you that you didn't know existed, you know?
Honestly, every interaction you have with someone, it can bring out a new version of you. It'll either bring out, and it either feels very exciting and uplifting, or it can kind of be the opposite when you know on like an energetic level. It's just not in resonance, and it feels a lot more like heavy.
Yeah.
Um, but there's so much to it. Friends have brought out a more creative side.
Mm.
They've helped me learn things in life that I'm passionate about.
Hmm.
Um, at the same time, being around people, you can definitely learn what you don't enjoy, which is all part of the journey as well.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great examination. I love that you're puzzling it out in real time. You're like learning, you're just like thinking, you're like, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about being asked about being asked questions, though. It does force you to critically analyze and think things. So,
Yeah.
um,
And thank you for answering the question, Becca, because when you're talking about your newness or your realness, your authenticity, your originality, what do you feel like, as you refer to the older version, like the version that came before, what do you feel is no longer? And what do you feel has remained? Like what did you have to release? And then what have you now retained from that younger version?
oh my goodness, that has been such an ongoing journey, and I wouldn't like. There has been so many versions of me that have existed, and it's kind of a perpetual cycle too of shedding things, and then anyway, is there a certain timeline we're going with, or time frame, or
Anything that comes to mind, anything that really comes into your awareness as you think about it.
what version of me that has shedded? I
Yeah.
think I have to start with like giving a little bit of context with my upbringing, and then where I've gone from there. So in a
Mhm.
nutshell, I grew up attending like one of the biggest sheddings I did. So I attended a Catholic private school
Okay.
growing up, and on each side of my family, my mother's side was heavily Catholic, and then my father's side um, heavily Protestant. So I grew up with that. When did I start to kind of shed a lot of that though? Because there was definitely like a turning point where I felt very suppressed in many
Mm.
ways. And then the more I find, the more you suppress or push something, uh, at some point in time, it's going to rebel. It's like that analogy of using a rubber band, rubber band analogy. So going
Mhm.
from what felt like a little bit more of an isolated upbringing, then to kind of going to a regular high school, I saw so much more vastness of people of different backgrounds. There was a lot there. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to gather my words here. There's more
Take
variety.
your time.
There was
Take.
just some more variety. I'm gonna put it in a nutshell like that. So I got exposed to a lot of different people, and then that really started to bring me out of my shell a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And along the journey too, having different health crises that I've experienced really has shape shifted who I am.
Mm.
And then at the same time, going through those, having to reflect back on some limiting beliefs that I've had with those as well. I Sorry, I'm like all over the place.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Yeah.
Um, so the shedding part.
Hmm.
Wow, because every single experience I've been through has shaped me in one way. And then at the same time, I reflect back and try to analyze how anything of that may have caused trauma also um, it's like a pattern, and you can ultimately release that pattern once you have that awareness of it.
Mm.
So I'm still working on that.
Yeah. You know, as you're time traveling, as you're going down memory lane, as they call it, Becca, it's interesting the things that come up when we reflect, when we make these reflections, and when we draw these connections, kind of like how people talk about like connecting the dots. And, you know, just when you're talking about shedding the skin, you know, kind of like a snake shedding its skin, becoming something new, becoming something, you know, different, becoming something more, but shedding what's no longer needed, shedding the layers of that, but also with the transformation of shape shifting. You called it shape shifting when you were talking about health crises. Can you mention what was the health crisis that shape shifted you the most during that time period?
I think where I'll start, I was, you know what? It's funny we're doing this today because on April 19th of 2011, so I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Mm,
So we're at April 19th of 2024 now. So it's like my anniversary of that. But that was definitely one of the biggest game changers for my dream at the time was to audition for a ballet school. I was living in Canada, and I really wanted to pursue a life of doing ballet.
mhm,
And my mother and I are both dual citizens, so we both wanted to go back to the United States.
mhm,
Um, Pretty much everything was lined up for it to work out, but the one thing that stopped me, like I even went down for the audition and everything, and I was very sick at the time, but just didn't know what was going on.
mm,
So I did come back and I went through some tests with doctors and then found out that I was type 1 diabetic. So that was something that ended up holding us back. And I just felt like my world like completely imploded on me because all the plans I had, my dreams were crushed. So that was definitely like one of the darker places I've been. Um, but in hindsight, looking at the entire journey, it has and is still continuing to teach me so much. Um, the next like big thing that really got got me. So this was
mhm,
2018. I for about 2.5 years was misdiagnosed as having panic attacks,
mm,
but turns out I was having focal seizures as a result of having a cyst on my brain. So that really put me through the ringer with the actual medical system and getting a diagnosis, but having to face something that was one of my biggest fears. Having to undergo brain surgery. That was
mm.
I don't even have words in the English language to describe how that felt. So having to like sign off on something that potentially could have resulted in death or uh, any like vast array of things that could have gone wrong,
Jesus.
but then coming through on the other side and surviving. but experiencing the whole journey of coming back to being a like functioning body again, something
Mhm.
else.
My goodness. Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm glad you're still here, you know?
Right? I I forget sometimes, but I have a tattoo on my arm now, and it's like when people have asked about it and I tell the story, it's like, like, holy shit, I am still alive. That's actually pretty incredible.
It is. It is, you know. And I mean, I haven't I don't think I've spoken to anyone else who has ever had a brain surgery. Like what was, having to sign off on something that you don't know that you're going to come back from.
Mhm.
And then when you did come back, what did you have to learn again? Like how did you have to move again? Like what did you have to do again to become more whole? Like what was that process like for you after that?
After signing off or
After the
the
procedure, like after the operation?
oh my goodness. It brought me back to it was such a humbling experience. I was like a newborn baby again. I had to have my mother like bathe me. Trying to remember at first, could I eat or not? It was mainly just, doing liquids and stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, it was hit or miss some days if I was able to walk. So this was like the second time in my life that I felt my dreams of dancing being crushed because I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get up and dance again.
Mm.
Um, so it was such an array of emotions to deal with, and just being limited to being bedridden for a while.
Mm.
And then some days, the healing journey, I have definitely learned it is not a linear process. It's some days I was blessed to be able to get up and go out for a walk with support, but doing that. But then some days it was like, man, I can't even stand up. Like I need someone to help me get to the bathroom. So it was it was quite experience.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah. And what did you hold on to during that time that you felt helped you through or really assisted you? Was there an idea, a hope, a faith, a philosophy, or anything that you were able to hold on that kept you in the positive?
You know what? The beautiful thing about all of that was that I actually just kind of had to take it literally one step at a time.
Mhm.
Everything, because I think we're so accustomed to trying to have a game plan for how our whole life is going to pan out, and are you going to go to school, you're going to get a job, all that stuff. It was like, no, I kind of just have to get through this literally one step at a time.
Mm.
So, trying to think like a glimmer of hope. It actually kept me so present as much as
Mm.
possible. I, so I wasn't really thinking about the future. I was just like being,
Yeah.
and that wasn't always a fun experience. There was a lot of like frustration and anger that would come up, but I was just in that moment of whatever is coming up is coming up, and
Right.
I have to deal with that. So
Right. So just totally in the moment, like they call it the power of now, you
yes,
know.
absolutely. And it was simple. Like my day to day was just very simple. It wasn't trying to conquer a million things in the run of a day. It was just honoring. Oh, I had to honor my body every single moment,
Mm.
what it wanted, and that changed drastically on a day to day basis.
Honoring your body changed drastically, you said?
Just on a day to day basis, like one day my body gave me permission to be in physical motion. Some
Mhm.
days it just was like, no, you're gonna stay in bed today.
Mhm.
Um, Slowly, as things got better, I could sit upright, and then I could paint some days. That was very therapeutic.
Mm,
So it changed, or like it was such a journey of one day's being able to walk, and then it felt like some days you take two steps backward and you're kind of back to square one, whatever you want to consider that to be. But
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, thank you for sharing this, Becca. Thank you for sharing your testimony on like, how healing, how growth, how recovery, how, you know, building the structure again, building foundation again, learning these things again, how it's all a process, it's all a journey, it's all a learning, and we can't take it for granted. It's like there's so many things that we take for granted, like going through this and growing through this, having to come back
Mm-hmm.
when you didn't know. You had no assurances, there was no safety net, there was no security blanket, there was nothing. Like it was just, you know and coming from this, like, what do you feel like you now know about the body and now know about the mind that you feel like people who haven't gone through this, maybe they take for granted?
Well, ooh, it's a good question because sometimes I actually I'm not looking at things from that macro perspective, and I'm back to being on that journey, and then I have to look back and reflect on what I've been through. Um, the power of, sorry, what was the question again?
Yeah, coming from this experience with all the things that you learned, the lessons, the knowledge, the wisdom from that ordeal, what do you feel is something about the body and the mind that generally you think that people take for granted?
Oh my gosh. It taught me how insanely powerful our brains are, and having anything impact anything impacted to that really, it's the powerhouse of the body.
Mhm.
It I know this isn't so much touching on the mind. This is the physical brain and our whole uh, nervous system. But once something like that is impacted, it's got control, the rest of your body. But trying to think from a mind perspective, because I've definitely have had instances in my life when I've really set that intention in the power of my mind to do something, and it has manifested into existence, and it's been incredible. So
Mhm.
I think this would focus a little more on the part where in my journey, where I was able to get back to doing what I love doing. And which my biggest passion is movement. It's dancing,
Mhm.
but yeah, movement of the body. I just was able to conquer so much. I saw, you know what, you actually can heal, and you can do this. And it's so much more invigorating when it's something that's coming from the heart and you're so passionate about it. Like that just, man. In a
Yeah.
nutshell, I think I'd have to think about that, but I could probably come up with a very good answer for you.
Yeah. Because what do you feel are some of the practices and, the routines, the regimens, or even the rituals that you've adopted now that are for your benefit when it comes to the body work, when it comes to the mental work, or when it comes to anything that continues to revitalizes you, like continues to nourish you, continues to have you flourish in a way that is going on the upward trend instead of, the backward trend?
Okay, if I am to put myself back in that position and then having that stark contrast of getting better, it made me realize you need to pursue the things in life that bring you joy and happiness, because you just never know sometimes what life's going to hand you. And it definitely made me appreciate these things once they were stripped from me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think that needs happen in life so that you do appreciate what you have, because you don't really know what you have till it's gone.
Right. Right. Yeah. That is so true. You know, it reminds me of the saying, they used to say that we never miss our water until the well runs dry. You know? We don't miss the water until the well runs dry, until there's nothing coming up, you know? And that's when it's like, oh, I actually had all this in abundance. I actually had a lot more than I thought I did. Yeah.
And I'm still very guilty of that. Like, by not looking at things from a bigger perspective and appreciating what I have sometimes. But it's so much more. I must say, having a conversation like this is really important too, to do that reflection, and then it's making me see things through a different lens again.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, your dream, when you said, Becca, that you had this dream like dancing and you know, you still do this. Well, I saw on your page there was a lot of body work. I even saw a circus performance. You said it was like what was it? A circus performing. Can you talk about that? Because I don't know too much about that, but I saw that you were in the hoop, and I saw that you were, you know, you and a friend or
Well,
you and a partner. You were.
yeah.
Mhm.
So predominantly right now, what I'm doing with working for a circus is go-go dancing
Oh,
and doing more of that. I've put other things on the back burner right now because I'm just finishing up massage therapy school.
mhm.
But once I'm done, I really want to pursue different avenues and just find out what I'm the most passionate about, maybe what I thought I'd enjoy, and then it doesn't end up clicking as much. But
Okay.
yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I lost my train of thought.
No worries, no worries. And now since you're going to massage therapy school, what inspired you to, you know, become a massage therapist? Like, was there something that, you know, empowered you in that direction?
Well, that's a very good question. So in the state of Florida, where I'm currently living, I after having an experience with Reiki, I somebody did it on me, and it was incredibly impactful. So I just felt like, you know what? I think I need to go get certified in Reiki.
Mm,
So I did that, and I'm I've got my level 2.
mhm,
To work at businesses, like, there's such a gray area with it, but you technically do need to have your right to touch through becoming a licensed massage therapist. So massage therapy kind of found me. I wasn't looking for it, but I came across so many people that, or I crossed paths with them, I think about a year ago now. And it just sort of lit a spark in me, like, maybe you should go back to school, because I've always wanted to pursue
mhm,
education a little more. I've had a challenging time finding what suits me, but I'm not someone that can sit behind a desk. I cannot do like a desk job type of thing. I need to be in movement a lot. So now I'm here. Now I'm here. I'm working on this, and it even this alone has taught me a lot about how much can I give to others. And if I overgive, I'm pouring from an empty cup, and that never works. So my body will just kind of force me back into alignment with, you know what, make sure you're taking care of yourself too.
right, right. So finding that balance, finding that harmony with not overgiving, you said?
Yeah, making sure that you are not pouring from an empty cup is how I would say, like how I would word it. So I've learned along this journey too, if I overgive and give too many massages, it will just lead me into like a physical type of burnout, and or something will act up with my head, or something blood sugar wise, diabetes. So it's like these health things push me right back into, you know what, you gotta focus on yourself first. Make sure you come back to yourself first, and then worry about everything else. But
Mhm.
That I hope that makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes total sense, you know, and it's a good message to remember, you know, for those people who feel like they're constantly burnt out, constantly exhausted, maybe lethargic, maybe just, you know, spent, you know, as they call it, the energy is just spent. You just feel you know,
There's
and
much of that. There's so much of that in the world.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, continue.
No, you're right. You know, there's a lot of it. We hear about it all the time. And to now have that awareness and just remind me when you said that you got into Reiki, and then in order to be a Reiki practitioner, you need to be a massage therapist. Is that what you said?
Yes, to like work in a business type of setting, you do need to have your license as an LMT, and then you can also offer Reiki services. It's state of Florida specific. I think there's a lot of other states where that's not the case, but um, the last thing I'd want to do is have like a really honest business get shut down because I'm practicing Reiki on people without a license.
Right.
So that has happened, and it's I don't necessarily agree with it, but it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. You know, when you're working with the system, it's like better safe than sorry, you know, like
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, for anybody who's listening to you right now and you know, they're listening to you, they're like, "Wait, what is Reiki? What is this?" And you know, you're level 2, what does that mean? And you know, how would you even describe it? How would you explain it to somebody who had never heard before?
And you know what? I'm still learning a lot about it the more I practice it, but it you really kind of have the power to heal something, whatever the intention is, and I have to remind myself of that. But once you bring it in, it can. I think it's a divine force, really. If you are using it with the correct intention, it's a form of love and healing. Um, and really, we do have such powerful gift modalities and capabilities that a lot of people are aware of. And anyone can do it.
Yeah,
Really, anyone can do it. So it's really eye-opening to see what, hidden talents that we all possess.
I believe. I believe it. You know, I agree. And when you said you first felt that energy, what was it like? Like when you had your first maybe Reiki attunement or, you know, when somebody worked on you, like what did it feel like for you that first time?
I actually felt like my true essence dropped down into my body, if that makes sense. And I just felt this like elated joy and excitement. I was at a like beach circle with a bunch of friends, and this wasn't the first time I had it done, but this was, I have to say, the most impactful one. And I think having that group of women together with the intention of healing, it it brought back this life force into that I didn't realize I'd been missing,
Mm,
or at least disconnected from. So sometimes we don't. Oh man, this is how I would describe the experience. You don't know what you're sometimes until you take a step out of it and have like a more elevated feeling of like joy or bliss or something like that. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I was living my life without this. And now here I am. And it just made me want to dance. That's always my go-to, but I, it felt incredible. And I just felt such a calling to do it and be able to do it on myself. And then eventually, my motive is to do it on others as well within a business setting. So
yeah, yeah. I love that motive. You know, I love that motivation. I love that mission. You know, I love that vision that you can see for yourself to, you know, you being empowered and now you're empowering others and now you're just working on others in this way and allowing others to feel the elation, to feel the sensation, and to
Mm-hmm.
feel the vibration of what you felt, you know? Yeah.
And it doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not, I know it's not going to stop there for me either. There's so many other, one other experience I had is with something called reconnective
Mhm.
healing. And that I have to say was felt more powerful than Reiki. But again, it's incredible power of healing just in general.
Mhm.
And I'd like to continue working on my own journey, but then to be able to offer that for others. So my hopes are one day just, I guess I'm doing it right now, just sharing my experiences and stories I've been through, and then just saying, I've been kind of at this, in this like pit, but my God, now I'm like, look how far I've come. And just so you know, you can do it too. There is hope for it. I don't, man, it is not a fun place to be when you don't at least have a glimmer of hope or faith that things can get better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You know, and it's, it can be a grim reality. It can be even just, just reflecting. I'm thinking of the times when I was in that place, and how you made it out of that place when you didn't see the light, so to speak, at the end of the tunnel. How you kept taking that step, how you kept moving forward in the darkness. It's different for everyone, but wow, I love this. I love just listening to you tell your story. Like you said, Becca, you are doing it now. You're doing it in the moment. You're actually just giving this energy, and you're living this energy, you know? So, when it comes to that bliss that you had, that realization, or even that revelation, for like, how did I miss this bliss? Like, what was the disconnect? What got me away from this? How did I forget this? Like, why have I not been experiencing this? What do you feel blocks most of us from that bliss? Like, what blocks us from feeling this?
That is such a good question. What blocks us from that bliss? Like, I think ultimately everything external can lead us astray from who we truly are in our
Mm,
core. And it can be influences, it can be just um, society, it can be limiting beliefs that we have, like disempowering beliefs about ourselves,
mm,
being in much lower emotional states, like it being being in fear versus being in a state of like excitement. It's very contractible versus incredibly expansive.
mm.
Those are a few answers I would give for that.
Yeah, yeah. What do you feel generally keeps us in fear? Or maybe if you can think for yourself, what kept you in that fear frequency?
I think the majority of people are living in survival and not in a state of passion. And we're slowly getting out of that, but it's just like, I think that would have to be the answer I'd give.
So survival keeps us in the fear frequency.
Yes, just being obsessed with, and it's necessary to focus on survival, but we also need to make time for the things that bring us joy in life.
Hmm.
Maybe
Hmm.
I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong here.
I love that you keep the door open.
Oh man,
You,
I'm always willing.
you never close that door. You
I'm always, and sometimes it's maybe not for the best, but I'm always willing to be open-minded and change, or like listen to different perspectives. And sometimes I can't really find where I align because it's like, damn, I see your point of view, and then I see that point of view, and I'm maybe somewhere in the middle. So
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. One of the wisest things that anyone could ever say is, I don't know.
yeah, I'm gonna say I don't know.
I,
I get the better answer because I don't really know.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's wisdom right there.
Yeah.
Because from there, then you can discover, you know, from I don't know, then you can uncover, you can find out. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, and always changing, you know, it's always, but to say like, you know, I know everything, that kind of closes the door on possibility, right?
Oh,
You close,
100%. It caps you off from being willing to learn and be like a perpetual student.
right,
So
right.
yeah,
Student of life, always learning. They say the universe is a university, you know, that we're always in class. Like class is always in session.
class is always in session. I like that. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
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 When it when it came to pranic living, you know, Becca, how were you introduced to pranic living? When did that even come across your awareness?
I want to say it was a little over a year ago. I came across some some accounts, and I don't know how it happened, but for whatever reason, it was meant to happen. I was like, you gotta be kidding me that people, are living these very different lifestyles compared to everything we've been ever been taught. But then, I neglected it, and then I kind of came back around to it this year, and it was like I at that time clearly was not ready to hear the message, but I just became a little more open minded to it, and it was like, wow, okay, I'm curious now. How do people do this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you said that you were at first you were kind of put off or maybe skeptical, what kind of, you know, what within you opened up to the idea?
You know what? This again, um, instances throughout life where I've been through any type of suffering have wound up teaching me such incredible knowledge. So my let's just start back with my journey with diabetes. Really was eye opening to how impactful what we put in our bodies impacts our health. So that has been a whole journey. The latest thing for me, I went through another crisis moment since going through brain surgery where my head would not stop acting up for the life of me. And it was impacting my ability to attend school and everything. But it forced me to kind of do a little more digging onto the things that we put in our body that cause inflammation
Mm-hmm.
and like switching things. So where I had the operation was it did actually cut through my jaw. So the process of masticating food, that would be chewing, um, really causes my head to swell up. So I transitioned to doing more liquids, like blending things, just doing smoothies, and that really changed my quality of life. Um, and then I've slowly experimented a bit with fasting. I really need to go about it in a better mannerism, and I just joined your group that I found. You have like a support group of fasting. So I've been wanting to have a support group, but just getting to explore with that a bit, that's really been impactful too, taking time away from consumption. And currently what works best for me is more doing the intermittent fasting, but yeah, with consuming just like liquids and stuff, I have more energy because I'm not, my body's not focused so much on digestion. So that's that's incredible because I've,
Right, right.
we've been kind of educated that it can be the other way. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now on my journey, but I definitely want to explore that a bit more.
For sure, for sure. So, when you're talking about, you said your head was acting up, like it just kept acting up even after the procedure, like after all of that. What do you mean acting up? Like you just had headaches, migraines, or sharp pain, or what was it?
There was one point, so it if I if I allow, or how do I word this? Any type of swelling or inflammation can still cause me to have some focal seizures. So I consistently need to be conscious about things like it, this whole journey, like way back, I was very unconscious of all this, but I've given up so many things throughout my my life for the sake of my health. And it's amazing how like it can be challenging when you shed that version of you, but very rewarding because all in all, like once you've had your health stripped from you, it makes you realize how important to take care of yourself. So as for my head acting up, I'm so sorry, I forgot the question. I just went off on a tangent. What was
Okay, it's okay. So you said it like pulsations, like migraines, or like sharp pain? Like how would you describe the acting up that it was doing?
so I it can bring me back to having seizures. Um, I can see when this side of my head is swollen, and this is the side that had that underwent surgery. So I can visually see the swelling, and there was one point that the pain got it brought me back to when I had initially gotten out of the operating room. That surge of pain I felt, and you can't I it's like you can't focus on anything else when you are in that state of excruciating pain.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I was again kind of back to square one, having to be bedridden. And then anytime I'm bedridden, I love to do a lot of digging, like research, like why is this happening? And um, try to find some type of information that can ultimately help me get back to being in a state where I can function.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So even you use that time that you had, like you're saying you used your solitude to find a solution.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah. Yeah, and that's been something I've done when I'm bedridden and forced into that state of solitude. It's like I don't want to live my life like this. Like there's got I know that so much more to life than being stuck here. So I definitely like to find a solution
Hmm.
and trying to come from that state of this is happening for me. It is not happening to me.
Mm. Mm.
So what's the message? Why is this happening and how do I get myself out of this?
Yeah. Yeah. What a perspective, you know? Having that perspective shift, like you just lifted me just now when you
Oh,
said that.
I I can't take credit for it. I had one of my spiritual mentors put me in that perspective and it shifted everything for me. So I am glad to share that knowledge and wisdom with you. But yeah, I when I'm in that place I don't want to be, I have to take adapt that mindset. Like why is this happening for me and what is the message? What's the lesson here?
Yeah. Yeah. What's the lesson? Like,
What
can I find the blessing? What's the message? Yeah. 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 It's very challenging in those times to have that perspective, but I love that you have that because, you know, just to be able to in the moment to look for, look for like, okay, what is this teaching me? You
Mm-hmm.
know, what can I learn from this? How can I earn from this? How can I turn from this? Like, how can I turn things around in this state? And yeah, I love that you do that. Instead of just staying down in depression, you use it as a launching pad for your progression.
And sometimes I have to let all those emotions be felt and then kind of get back into that um, calm down parasympathetic nervous state to be able to think rationally again, because it's it happens. We get flooded with emotions and frustration and all that, but
Absolutely.
when you can look in hindsight, like what just happened, and for situations that repeat themselves, the pattern will kind of keep on coming in until it's like, okay, did you get it yet? And then once you get it, it's on to the next lesson. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And also, Becca, you've been teaching me during this whole conversation. You've been teaching me a lot. I also learned the word masticate. You masticated. I didn't know that word, so thank you for giving me a new word.
you're welcome. And I think I learned it, well, studying anatomy has been very helpful, but juicers, if you have a juicer, for those that are into it, it will say it's a masticating juicer. In other words, it's taken out everything that you're so that you are basically just getting the juice out as opposed to everything that your body has to process. And it all starts with chewing.
Okay. So
So that
chewing. Hmm. So that masticating, that chewing, you're saying that was kind of the masticating was aggravating these focal seizures, or making these things happen, like when the act of chewing
the act
itself.
of chewing itself. So if I, choose to eat anything, I blend it, or it's got to be mashed or something like that. And I learned it too because on a totally separate note, was inspired to just do a bit of a smoothie and juice cleanse and stopped chewing things. And after a few days, like, I looked in the mirror and I saw my face looked symmetrical for the first time since brain surgery. Like, the swelling had gone right down. I was like, there she is again. Like, because my head has changed. Um, so that was incredible to just see. And I've been in experiences since then where I have chewed things, and then it's like, oh, there's the swelling again. But I now have a different frame of reference of just what doing a bit of a detox can do, or abstaining from certain practices like chewing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, so it's like you were like, there she is. You could see your own self again.
I could see the version of me that existed prior to having um, my head cut open. Let's put it that way.
Wow. When you're talking about this, Becca, and somebody's listening to you and they're like, you know what? I'm feeling inspired. If she can do it, I can do it. I want to go on a fast. I want to start, cleansing. I want to do these things. What advice would you give somebody who has never gone a day without food, maybe even not even half a day without eating, the 3 meals a day plus snacks in between we're told that we need? What advice would you give to somebody who wants to start that?
Ooh, okay. I've learned so much in even about myself, and it's kind of coming back to that journey of healing not being linear. Um, be very, very patient,
Mhm.
very patient with yourself, because when I do these things, I've wanted to jump in and go, like, have it happen super linear. Um, start with, like, replacing one thing a day, maybe, with, or I think I even saw what you had spoken about in terms of fasting. Like, eliminate just one thing. Don't don't immediately go to a day of, you know, doing nothing, because your body, we become such creatures of habit.
Mhm.
And the best thing to do is, instead of completely eliminating something, replace it.
Hmm.
Because then your body's like, at least for me, if I just completely eliminate something and don't put something in its place, it's like, what do I do? So
Right, right. There's a gap.
there is a gap, and definitely do not give yourself a hard time if one day you quote unquote slip up,
Hmm.
as if they're, it's not going to be a perfect journey, but you can always hop back on the bandwagon and just, every day, every moment is brand
Yeah.
new. So if you are beating yourself up, just kind of get back into that. You know what? Let's try again. You get knocked down, you get back up again.
Hmm. Hmm. Great advice. Great
I'm
advice.
still going through that, and I feel inspired to get back on, just doing a bit of a cleanse and noticing what makes me feel better and where am I at. So yeah,
Right.
that's the
Right.
advice I would give.
Absolutely. So it's almost like, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's almost like we don't erase habits, but we replace habits.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Like if something is gone and there's an emptiness, there's a vacuum here, it needs to be filled with something different. Something else has to go in there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
that is the advice I would give.
Awesome. Awesome. So finding out what that is for them, finding out, what brings you that bliss, what brings you that joy, what gives you that love, what gives you that fullness and fulfillment, other than food, which, a lot of people still get a lot of, satisfaction. They draw a lot of that from food, as it were, but, they don't know that they could have it from anything else until they try, and
Mm-hmm.
I love the message as well. Like if you fall down, it's okay. Just get back up.
Mm-hmm.
Not linear, you know?
It is not linear, and that can apply to so many things in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. If somebody wants to get in touch with you or get in tune with you, maybe, receive any services, any offerings, or, just to hear from your personal experience, like where would you have people go to receive more of you? Where should they go?
That is such a good question, because this is brand new. I've never hopped on a live before. I'm actually pretty terrified of being filmed or going live. So thanks for getting me out of my comfort zone.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I'm
congratulations.
terrified. I can't even make eye contact with the camera. I keep looking.
Congratulations.
um,
You did it.
yeah, I did it. Um, so, like as in the services of speaking with me, or massage therapy, or Reiki, or just
Yeah,
someone to
any of
talk to.
anything. Mm-hmm.
Anything. I would say social media is probably the best.
Okay.
Like just right here. Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to me on my Instagram platform. Um, but this is something I'm gonna have to delve into a little deeper, of how I want to advertise myself with stuff. So, you know, you're giving me something else to think about.
And that's funny. I would never have assumed that you were shy of the camera.
Oh my
You
gosh, I'm kind of terrified of it.
what?
With speaking or being filmed.
I would have never thought. I would have never thought. You know. Yeah.
Thank you. I want to work on it. It's always been a goal of mine to work on this fear of mine, because yeah, for many reasons. I gotta
Yeah.
face my fears sometimes. No
Well,
growth
congrats.
in my comfort zone. No growth in the comfort zone.
True. Very true. We step outside the comfort zone and into our discovery zone.
Yes.
You know. Yeah. 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 So congratulations. Congratulations. Like, thank you for this conversation. I feel so much love. I feel I feel expanded from this, just from hearing your testimony, hearing your experience, and just to also hear that you're conquering your fear just by being here. Like, what? That's awesome.
I all like my ego was trying to get me to find ways to be busy during this time slot so that I wouldn't have to do it. But then I kind of had to ask, okay, all right, where is this coming from? Is it fear? No. It worked out. It worked out. I'm here now. So, thank you for having me.
And I trust, this won't be the last time that we hear from you, and just stay encouraged. Your voice is powerful, Becca. We need to hear it. And there's so much wisdom in you. There's so much light. And I love just what you've learned. And I love what you're passing on to others, showing people what can be done, even if they feel like it's impossible. And also just letting us know, don't forget about the things we might take for granted. Don't wait till the well is dry, to extract that water and to cherish it, to be thankful.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you for this. Just talking about it really helps me shift my perspective and kind of remember everything I've been through on my journey, and I'm I really hope it touches somebody. I think we all should share our stories more because there's something so sacred to not only sharing but then connecting, and especially when you find people that understand you, man, that's such a gift.
I agree.
Or inspire. Like there's so much to having human to human connection.
I agree. It's never been more important, you know? It's never been more important thing. So much love, Becca. Enjoy the rest of your day. It looks very sunny out there, you
It's
know.
beautiful. I am so grateful to live here.
It looks beautiful. So just enjoy your day, enjoy your moments, and yeah, till next time.
You too. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to connect.
So, awesome. See you again.
See you. Have a good one.